Okay, so in this short video, I just want to talk to you about a really important aspect of running a Facebook ad campaign. Now, this is something that it's a must do before you even start running ads, and that's adding the Facebook SDK to your app. So look, you should really never run a Facebook ad campaign without the SDK. Basically, without it, you're completely in the dark as to how well your campaigns are performing. Without the SDK, it's impossible to track installs of your app. So you can run an ad campaign, that's great. You'll be able to measure clicks, but without the SDK, you'll have no idea how many of your installs actually came directly from that ad campaign. So it makes it really difficult to tweak and test your Facebook ads without the SDK installed. Now, it also leaves you without the ability to use audiences, which are a really powerful targeting option we'll talk about later in the course, but you want to be able to use audiences. It's something that you're really going to be missing out on if you don't put the SDK in. And look, it is easy to implement. A common myth that I come across is that people think that you need to have Facebook logon enabled to be able to do this, and that's simply not true. When you implement the basic Facebook SDK, the user doesn't even have to know that the Facebook SDK is in your app. It's very similar to adding something like Flurry or Google Analytics. It's a couple of lines. Your programmer should be able to do it really quickly. We're talking a 15-minute job here for a professional programmer. So there's really no reason not to add the SDK. Now, I just want to talk about a couple of extra benefits of adding the SDK as well. You do get access to Facebook's analytics platform, which is pretty cool. You get to see all of your basic metrics, so your number of sessions, your session length, all those sorts of things, as well as retention. You get straight up retention figures that you can go in and look at. And Facebook have just announced a bunch of new improvements to their app analytics platform at the F8 conference. So it's something they're actively working on as well. And something that they also announced at F8 that was really exciting was called ad attribution. And it's in beta at the moment, and they have released ad attribution for a limited number of publishers, but unfortunately it hasn't been rolled out to everyone. And what I mean by ad attribution is within the Facebook's analytics platform, they're going to give developers the ability to actually track which users came in through which ad campaign. And I'm not just talking Facebook ad campaigns, I'm talking they've got about 10 of the major advertisers on board, but you'll be able to track your users depending on which ad network they came in or which ad campaign they came in through, and then you'll be able to see which ones are most valuable, which ones are performing different actions. It's going to be some really cool stuff, so it's going to be worth having the SDK in there for those couple of reasons. And the next thing I want to talk about is adding a new app in Facebook. So you need to do this before you go ahead and set up an ad campaign. And all this is going into the Facebook developer console and adding a new app. So it's really easy to do. It's quite simple. You just go in, it's a few clicks, you enter a few details about your app, and then they set you up with a Facebook app ID that you'll need for the SDK integration. You will need to create the app in iTunes Connect first. You won't have to have everything set up like all of your in-app purchases and things, but you do need the bundle ID for your app. So you'll need to go into iTunes Connect and set that up first. Now, just before we finish up this video, I do want to mention that I've included in the extras section, I'm going to show you a video on how to implement the SDK. So I'm going to show you in Xcode, in a real app, how I can add the Facebook SDK in less than 15 minutes. And the point of this is I want you to understand exactly how easy it is so that either A, you can implement it yourself, or B, you know exactly what to expect when you're out there hiring a developer to do this for you. It can save you a ton of time and money by just knowing exactly what kind of work is required. If you're hiring a developer and he tells you it's going to take 3 hours, this is going to be your way of knowing that that's just not true. I'll also include in that video, in the extras, a quick example of how to create a new app in Facebook or add a new app in the Facebook developer console as well. So don't forget to check those out. And that wraps up module 1. Let's just do a quick recap of what we've covered. We looked at defining your goals, measures of success, and then identifying your perfect audience. And hopefully you'll go and complete that worksheet that I've included at the end of this module. We looked at the structure of an ad campaign. We looked at the campaign level, the ad set level, and then the ad level. We've seen the Power Editor and had a quick overview of its features and functions. And then we covered a few must-do items. They included adding the Facebook SDK and adding apps in the Facebook Developer Portal. Next up in Module 2, we'll look at the most powerful part of Facebook advertising, and that is targeting.